All right, we're here as the Lost Rider Podcast. Good morning and welcome to this weekend's edition. News from the Camp House, a listening post of the Texas Sportsman Association. This is Herman Brune. This weekend's edition is also brought to us by the Shaw's Bend Social Club. Country club folks who don't have a country club. All right, now, tell you what, we're here this weekend. We're in Great Falls, Montana. We're at the C.M. Russell Museum. All right, this is a great place. This is a wonderful place. And I'm sitting here with the executive director, Mr. Duane. Duane, I don't know what your last name is.
Last name's Braaten.
Braaten, okay, you said that. I can't remember nothing. Okay, Mr. Duane Braaten, he's executive director of the C.M. Russell Museum. All right, let me explain a little bit right quick. Frederick Remington and C.M. Russell are the two guys we think of when we think of Western art that depicts the Old West, how it was. And there are meccas for, Southwest art down in Santa Fe, the art galleries in Jackson Hole. Anymore now, you got the Briscoe in San Antonio, you got the Scottsdale Museum. There's meccas, but this is where it starts. As far as I care, it all starts right here in Great Falls. Charlie Russell's studio is here. The cabin that he did so much of his work in is here. His home is here on the museum grounds. This is a great place. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. Now, Duane, tell me a little bit. When I think about Charlie Russell, most of his work was done maybe 1880 to 1820.
Most of his work about 1880 until he died in 1926.
All right. And the perspective of this is that we're talking from the 1880 to the turn of the century into the 1920s. There's a lot of folks 1880 that really didn't know. He encapsulated and depicted a lifestyle, an era that people didn't know about. I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as the story goes, Charlie Russell was born and raised down in St. Louis, and he always dreamed about being a cowboy. So he wanted to come out and see what the West was all about, see what all the folks on the riverboats were talking about that came down the Mississippi down to his hometown of St. Louis. And he heard all these wonderful stories, and he read all these books, and Charlie Russell knew he was going to get out here. His parents finally relented, and he made it out here with a family friend when he was 16 years old. And as the story goes, he never looked back. So, it took a lifetime of hard work, dedication, and living the life of a cowboy to become a household name. So it wasn't an instant overnight success, but Charlie worked hard, and he had a lot of fun in doing so.
All right. Like you said, he was in New Jersey?
Born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri.
Louis. All right. He went to school in New Jersey later.
Very, very briefly, he was sent out to a military school, but that didn't stick at all. So, he gave that a go, but it turned right back around, and that's when his parents let him come out west and get it out of his system.
And it did not go out of his system.
It did not, absolutely. And that's what makes the Charlie Russell story so incredible, is that first and foremost, he wanted to be a cowboy and live that life. But at the same time, he wanted to paint what he was seeing. And he was the first to admit he wasn't the best roper or the best rider. But he was hanging out with the guys that did, and those are the guys that he was documenting and remained friends with for the rest of his life.
All right, and even as you said, he always wanted to do that, came out here when he was 16. He was already sketching this stuff when he was in that school in New Jersey.
Well, that's right. And he actually, there's a lot of pieces here in the museum's collection that he was creating as an early teenager. Now, it's well known Charlie didn't do a lot of formal art training, but he sat at his mother's feet as she was doing her watercolors. And that's what she did for fun. So Charlie was born and raised, grew up around the arts and was inspired by it. But Charlie needed a way to get those dreams in his head about the West down on paper. And that's how he knew how to do that, is by sketching and by drawing, by sharing and learning. So,
All right. Okay. Well, all right. It's safe to say that, so much of the stuff he did, there's a lot of wildlife art. There's stuff that depicts different instances with like the Blackfeet tribe, the Crow tribe, and this isn't stuff he just made up. I mean, this is stuff he saw.
You're exactly right. In many ways, he lamented the fact that a lot of that West had already passed by the time Charlie got out here. It was developed to an extent that he wasn't seeing the Indians moving across the plains with travois and things like that. But you nailed it right there. The three main subject matters that Charlie focused on were wildlife, the Native American subjects, and then the cowboys. He created about, maybe just a little shy of about 4,000 pieces in his career. So boy, did he ever get to work. Yeah. So those three subjects are by far and away the most prevalent that you'll see.
And, going back to what I was trying to describe in the very beginning, by doing it this way, he depicted an era and a lifestyle that was completely foreign to anyone else in the world.
Oh, that's right, except for those brave enough to leave the confines of the big city and come out and see, what Lewis and Clark started writing about.
Right. Okay. Now that's okay. I thought about that too. Lewis and Clark started writing about that. Of course, you got Lewis and Clark National Forest out here, and it all fits together. This is Charlie Russell country. And so much of his artwork depicts the East Front. It depicts the country out, all the way from the eastern front of the Rockies to the Missouri Breaks to, central Montana. And so it's all Charlie Russell country.
It is all Charlie Russell country. And boy, do we like to brag about Charlie deciding this guy that could have lived anywhere in the world. He chose to live right here on the eastern slope of the Rockies. I mean, a lot of Charlie's masterpieces, you'll see those wonderful flat top butte mountains, the mesas, if you will, that are right here in the Great Falls area. There's several of them. And sure enough, they make the skyline of a lot of Charlie Russell pieces.
All right. And that's part of what you want people to appreciate, because this is still pretty big country. And you can look at it and you can still kind of see it.
You can still see it, yeah. They don't call it the big sky for nothing. You can get out there, and those skylines that Charlie depicted are still there for us to envision, and boy, the sunsets that he pulled out every color of the palette to create, they're almost unbelievable to anyone who wouldn't have ever seen them firsthand. But here in Montana, in this part of Montana, all the colors come out at sunset, and Charlie Russell got them all down for sure.
Right. I think part of the point I want to make is that, okay, he started doing this around 1880, and it's still here. The mountains haven't gone anywhere. The country's big open. It's fenced up a little bit now, but you can look at his paintings and his art, and you can still see the countryside. you can still see the wildlife. There's cattle on it. They're not longhorns, they're Angus now, but there's cattle on it. Some of it's been farmed up, but you can certainly go from the eastern front of the Rockies all the way out into the Missouri Breaks and just take a tour. Just go look around, take a tour, and you can imagine the Blackfeet or the Crow or the Sioux. You can imagine the buffalo. It's the land hasn't changed.
You're exactly right, and it's a wonderful place still to live today. Is right here in Great Falls.
It's one. Okay, now one of the things I do not see so much in the Russell art is that 30 below.
The 30 below.
Yeah, in the wintertime.
Oh, there's a few. I mean, there's a very famous one called "The Last of the 5,000" that Charlie did to as a postcard back to the ranch owner of the ranch, and just in one simple drawing, he told that ranch owner how things were going in the middle of the blizzard that just wouldn't end. And it's alternately titled "Waiting for a Chinook." Here in Great Falls, in this area, we get those warm Chinook winds come throughout the winter, and they'll maybe melt the snow and give us a little breather from those 30 below days. But that winter, those Chinook winds just didn't come.
All right. Now, one of the things, once you start looking into the Russell history just a little bit, there's other folks. There's other folks who made a mark. They had a legacy that left that poetry, whether it's poetry or art or whatever. And most of these people were pretty good friends.
You're exactly right. This, Charlie Russell came here to town, and boy, I don't know if he really inspired a lot of other artists. There was another well-known artist named Olaf Karl Seltzer that also lived here. He was from Denmark originally, but he lived and worked here in Great Falls. And still today, I mean, artists, it's amazing how many professional artists still live in north central Montana and Montana in general, because the landscapes are so inspiring. There's an unending list of source material out there.
All right. I'll tell you what, let's take a quick break and thank folks who let us come on here every Saturday morning. We'll be right back. Yes. Whoops.